You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Dominica confers highest national honour to India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Modi proposes 7 key pillars to strengthen India-Caricom relations at the summit. US vetoes the UN Security Council's Gaza ceasefire resolution, while Hamas and Hezbollah stress on ending conflict for hostage or ceasefire talks. Ukraine launches UK cruise missiles into Russia a day after using long-range US missile. US may open Kyiv embassy today after shutting it, citing strike threat. And 55th edition of the International Film Festival of India opens in Goa. Prasar Bharati launches OTT platform called Waves. And on to the top story this hour. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi received the Dominica Award of Honour, highest national award of Dominica. The award is in recognition of Modi's contributions to Dominica during the COVID-19 pandemic and his dedication to strengthening the partnership between the two countries. The award was handed by Dominica's President, Sylvanie Burton. India supplied Dominica with 70,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine during the pandemic in February 2021. The award also recognizes India's support for Dominica in healthcare, education and information technology under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership.
ये सम्मान केवल मेरा नहीं है, बल्कि भारत के 140 करोड़ लोगों का, उनके पुरुषार्थ का, उनके संस्कार का, उनकी परंपरा का यह सम्मान है। यह गहरे संतोष का विषय रहा है कि हम कोविड जैसी आपदा के समय डोमिनिका के लोगों की सहायता कर सके।
Well, Prime Minister Modi co-chaired the second India-Caricom Summit along with Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell of Grenada, the current chair of CARICOM. PM Modi thanked President Dr. Irfan Ali of Guyana for hosting the summit. The summit saw participation from heads of government and FMs of the member states. To further strengthen the India-Caricom partnership, PM has put forward a 7-pillar proposal for CARICOM. C, capacity building. A is for agriculture and food security. R for renewable energy and climate change. I is for innovation, technology and trade. C again for cricket and culture. O for ocean economy and maritime security. M for medicine and healthcare. Also, PM Modi said that cricket is a big connecting link between India and Caribbean nations and proposed of training women cricketers of these nations.
क्रिकेट हमारे देशों के बीच एक बहुत बड़ा और महत्वपूर्ण कनेक्टिंग लिंक है। इस वर्ष आपके यहाँ हुए T20 वर्ल्ड कप से भारतीय क्रिकेट फैंस का कैरेबियन की ओर आकर्षण और भी बढ़ा है। और यह मैं सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं कह रहा हूं क्योंकि भारत ने यह विश्व कप जीता था। मेरा प्रस्ताव है कि क्रिकेट संबंधों के साथ साथ महिला सशक्तिकरण को बढ़ावा देने के लिए हम कैरिकॉम के हर देश से 11 युवा महिला क्रिकेटर्स की भारत में ट्रेनिंग कर सकते हैं।
And Prime Minister Modi gave a new definition to the CARICOM, focusing on capacity building, agriculture, food security, renewable energy, cricket and culture and medicine. PM stressed that India has put a proposal of opening Jan Aushadhi Kendra in Caribbean.
कैरिकॉम देशों की स्वास्थ्य सुरक्षा भारत के लिए उच्च प्राथमिकता का विषय रहा है। भारत में सामान्य मानवी को क्वालिटी एंड अफोर्डेबल हेल्थ केयर प्रदान करने के लिए जन औषधि केंद्र खोले हैं। मेरा प्रस्ताव है कि हम इस मॉडल पर कैरिकॉम के सभी देशों में जन औषधि केंद्र खोल सकते हैं। भारत और सभी देशों के बीच फार्माकोपिया को मान्यता देने के लिए समझौता संपन्न किया जाए तो इस प्रयास को गति ला सकते हैं।
Well, during India-Caricom Summit, Guyana President Dr. Irfan Ali thanked PM Modi for his selfless attributes during COVID times. He added that ties between India and Caribbean are deeply rooted in shared history and enduring cultural connections.
Having collectively this occasion to meet you face to face for the first time since COVID, to thank you and the people of India for your selfless attributes when you delivered to this region our first set of vaccines during the COVID pandemic. Under your visionary leadership, India has an influential voice in the international community. Your launching of the Voice of the Global South, your recent chairmanship of the Group of 20, India's pivotal role in BRICS, and your steadfast advocacy for the developing world underscores your commitment to advancing the aspirations of the Global South. These initiatives have elevated India's stature and placed the concerns of developing nations, including the small island developing and low-lying coastal states of the Caribbean, firmly on the global agenda.
Well, on the sidelines of the India-Caricom Summit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with PM of Antigua and Barbuda Gaston Browne. Both the leaders held talks on a number of bilateral issues. India's Prime Minister Modi held bilateral talks with Bahamas Prime Minister Philip Davis also. Prime Minister Modi also held talks with his Dominican counterpart, Roosevelt Skerritt, on the sidelines of the summit. Prime Minister Modi thanked the Dominican Prime Minister for the conferment of Dominica's highest award. The leaders explored opportunities for India-Dominica cooperation in areas such as climate resilience, healthcare, capacity building, and deepening of people-to-people ties. They also discussed cooperation at the United Nations. India's Prime Minister also held talks with President of Suriname Chandrika Prasad Santokhi. Both leaders reviewed progress on bilateral partnership and emphasized the importance of strengthening economic cooperation. Leaders agreed to expand bilateral cooperation in areas including defense and security, trade and commerce, agriculture, digital initiative, including UPI, ICT, healthcare, traditional medicine and pharmaceuticals, capacity building, human resource development, cultural and people-to-people engagements. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held talks with Grenada PM Dickon Mitchell. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held talks with Prime Minister of St. Lucia Philip J. Perry. Both sides exchanged views on cooperation in the fields of capacity building, education, health, cricket and yoga, and stressed the need to further reinforce the bilateral relations. Prime Minister Perry thanked Prime Minister for the 7-point CARICOM plan. India's Prime Minister Modi held talks with Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago Keith Rowley. The leaders discussed ways to strengthen Trinidad and Tobago relations in areas of digital transformation, health, defense and maritime security, transportation and cultural exchanges. The Prime Ministers witnessed exchange of an MOU on setting up of integrated automatic fruit and vegetable primary processing activities in Trinidad and Tobago. Prime Minister Modi congratulated Prime Minister Dr. Rowley for adopting India's flagship UPI platform. India's Prime Minister Modi held talks with Prime Minister of Barbados, Maya Amor Motley. The leaders explored opportunities for cooperation in several areas. Well, India and Guyana have signed key MOUs to strengthen ties in hydrocarbons, agriculture and pharmaceuticals. Highlights include diversifying crude oil sources, promoting affordable generic medicines and expanding India's UPI and RuPay systems to Guyana. These agreements aim to boost bilateral trade, energy security and digital inclusion, marking a new chapter in India-Guyana relations.
India and Guyana are forging a historic partnership as Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on his landmark visit to the Caribbean nations. This visit underscores the deepening ties between the two countries, bound by shared values and mutual interests. Prime Minister Modi and President Dr. Irfan Ali engaged in comprehensive talks, focusing on key areas such as defense, energy, health, pharmaceuticals, telemedicine, Ayurveda and capacity building.
भारत की एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी में गयाना की अहम भूमिका होगी। इस संदर्भ में लॉन्ग टर्म पार्टनरशिप के लिए एक खाका तैयार किया जाएगा। इस विषय पर आज किए जा रहे एमओयू से हमारा सहयोग और सुदृढ़ होगा।
Strengthening this robust partnership, India and Guyana signed several agreements across critical sectors, signaling a shared vision for growth and development. MOU on cooperation in hydrocarbon sector, MOU for bilateral cooperation in the field of agriculture and allied sectors, Cultural Exchange Program 2024 to 2027, MOU for recognition of Indian pharmacopoeia, MOU for implementation of Jan Aushadhi scheme, MOU on cooperation in the field of medical products, India Stack MOU on cooperation in the field of sharing successful digital solutions, MOU for enabling deployment of UPI-like system in Guyana, MOU for cooperation in collaboration in field of broadcasting, MOU between National Defence Institute Guyana and Rashtriya Raksha University, Gujarat.
हम दोनों देशों के कृषि अनुसंधान संस्थानों के बीच सहयोग बढ़ाने पर भी सहमत हुए। कृषि के क्षेत्र में आज किए जा रहे एमओयू से हमारे प्रयासों को बल मिलेगा। भारत फार्मा प्रोडक्ट्स के लिए गयाना का महत्वपूर्ण स्रोत है। हम फार्मा एक्सपोर्ट्स बढ़ाने के साथ-साथ गयाना में जन औषधि केंद्र बनाने पर भी काम करेंगे।
Prime Minister Modi celebrated the enduring cultural connections between the two nations, emphasizing the cultural exchange program that will continue until 2027. He also hailed President Dr. Irfan Ali as a true brand ambassador of India, reflecting the close bond shared by both leaders.
राष्ट्रपति इरफान अली स्वयं भारतीय समुदाय के बहुत बड़े ब्रांड एम्बेसडर हैं। आज हम दोनों देशों के बीच 2027 तक कल्चरल एक्सचेंज एग्रीमेंट पर सहमति बनी है। इससे हमारे पीपल टू पीपल टाइज और मजबूत होंगे।
Dr. Irfan Ali acknowledged India's expertise in vaccines, urban development and agriculture, highlighting these as key areas of collaboration. Praising Prime Minister Modi's leadership, he called him a champion among leaders for his significant contributions to the developing world.
You are a champion among leaders. You have led incredibly. You have shown the light to the developing world, and you have created a development matrix and framework that many are adopting in their own country, and much of it is relevant to us here in Guyana.
In a heartwarming gesture, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Ali participated in the Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam initiative by planting a sapling in Georgetown. Adding to the significance of the moment, President Ali was joined by his grandmother and mother-in-law, symbolizing respect for maternal bonds and shared values. With Siddharth Bardwaj, Bureau Report, DD India.
And right now we slip into a short break. Stay tuned for more in this edition of DD India Live. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, the US has blocked a Gaza ceasefire draft resolution at the United Nations Security Council, the fourth time it has used its veto power during the conflict to shield its ally Israel. 14 of the 15 council members voted in favor of the draft, which demanded that the conflict in Gaza must end immediately, unconditionally and permanently, and all remaining hostages must be immediately and unconditionally released. Deputy U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Robert Wood, said the document abandoned the necessity for there to be a linkage between a ceasefire and a release of hostages. Wood said the proposed resolution would have sent a dangerous message to Hamas. And talks between Israel and Hamas to free the hostages have stalled after months of efforts to reach a ceasefire agreement. Hamas said that there would be no hostages for prisoner swap deal with Israel unless the conflict in the Palestinian enclave ended. Washington's United Nations ambassador said the U.S. would only support a resolution that explicitly calls for the immediate release of the Israeli hostages as part of a ceasefire. Hamas acting Gaza chief Khalil al-Hayya, who led the group's negotiating team in talks with Qatari and Egyptian mediators, blamed the lack of progress on Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who in turn holds the Islamist group responsible for the stalled talks. While speaking during a visit to Gaza on Tuesday, Netanyahu said that Hamas would not rule the Palestinian enclave after the war had ended and that Israel had destroyed the Islamist group's military capabilities. Netanyahu also said Israel had not given up trying to locate the 101 remaining hostages believed to be still in the enclave, and he offered a $5 million reward for the return of each one. And Ukraine fired a volley of UK Storm Shadow cruise missiles into Russia on Wednesday, the latest new Western weapon it has been permitted to use on Russian targets a day after it fired US long-range missiles. The Storm Shadows have a range in excess of 250 kilometers and would give Ukraine the ability to hit targets for deeper into Russia than before. Moscow has said the use of Western weapons to strike Russian territory far from the border would be a major escalation in the conflict. Kyiv says it needs the capability to defend itself by hitting Russian rare bases used to support Moscow's invasion, which entered its 1,000th day this week. And meanwhile, the United States reopened its embassy in Kyiv and returned to normal operations on Thursday after a security threat. U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine said, "We continue to encourage U.S. citizens to remain vigilant, monitor official Ukrainian sources for updates, and be prepared to shelter in place if an air alert is announced." The embassy was closed on Wednesday, and embassy employees were instructed to shelter in place a day after Ukraine used American missiles to hit a target inside Russia. And India slammed Canadian media report regarding killing of Sikh activists. In response to queries, External Affairs Minister spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal said, and I quote, "We do not normally comment on media reports. However, such ludicrous statements made to a newspaper purportedly by Canadian government source should be dismissed with the contempt they deserve. Smear campaigns like this are only further damage our already strained ties." And India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will attend the 11th ASEAN Defence Ministers Meeting Plus in Lao PDR today. It is the highest defence consultative and cooperative mechanism in ASEAN. Rajnath Singh arrived in Vientiane on Wednesday, where he addressed the Indian community. He said after 2014, India's stature has grown in the forum.
2014 के बाद इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी में भारत का स्टेचर बढ़ा है। पहले भारत इंटरनेशनल फोरम पर कुछ बोलता था तो भारत की बातों को जितनी सीरियसली लिया जाना चाहिए, जितनी गंभीरतापूर्वक लिया जाना चाहिए, नहीं लिया जाता था। लेकिन आज इंटरनेशनल फोरम पर भारत कुछ बोलता है तो सारी दुनिया कान खोलकर सुनती है कि भारत बोल क्या रहा है। यह भारत की यह कोई छोटी बात नहीं है। अब हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर का सम्मान यदि दुनिया के देश में होता है, इसका मतलब प्राइम मिनिस्टर जिस कंट्री का प्राइम मिनिस्टर है उस कंट्री का सम्मान हो रहा है।
Well, on the sidelines of the talks, Minister Singh met his Chinese counterpart. It was the first such meeting following the recent disengagement agreements and the meeting of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. Minister Singh highlighted that amicable relations between India and China would have positive implications for global peace and prosperity. Considering that both countries are and will continue to remain neighbours, he said that they need to focus on cooperation rather than conflict. Minister Singh also met his counterparts from Malaysia and Lao PDR. In his meeting with the Malaysian minister, both sides agreed to support each other's endeavours to arrive at meaningful outcomes to promote security and stability in the region. Minister Singh complimented Lao PDR for its efficient and inclusive leadership as the chair of ASEAN this year. These meetings are aimed at further enhancing bilateral defence cooperation with these countries. And the Indian Foreign Secretary is scheduled to visit Dhaka in mid-December to lead the Indian delegation at the next round of India-Bangladesh Foreign Office consultation. This has been said by Foreign Affairs Advisor of Bangladesh, Tauhid Hussain, on Wednesday evening. He said that he believes Dhaka-Delhi advancing towards normal bilateral relations and the FOC will be the first step in that direction, reports Bangladesh Sangbad Sangstha, a state-run news agency. He expressed optimism that Dhaka and New Delhi could move forward pragmatically and realistically to restore ties to a completely normal state. During the visit, the Indian Foreign Secretary is expected to pay a courtesy call on Bangladesh's Foreign Affairs Advisor, reports BSS. The last annual FOC was held in New Delhi on November 24, 2023. And the 55th edition of Indian International Film Festival began in the West Indian state of Goa on Wednesday. Cinema lovers have already queued outside the theatre to catch the opening film of IFFI 2024. The Better Man, Minister for Information and Broadcasting Ashwini Vaishnaw on Wednesday said India is focused on developing a strong content creators economy. Addressing the inaugural function through a video message, the Union Minister welcomed the delegates for this year's film extravaganza.
I welcome all the delegates from across the world to the IFFI 2024. Friends, IFFI, as we call it, has become a very important milestone in the development of film industry in India. We in India at this point of time are very much focused on developing the content creators economy. We have a very vibrant creators economy where people are coming up with very innovative content, showcasing some of the rich heritage of India, the cuisines of India, the culture of India, some of the gems of Indian language and literature are being presented by the content creators in very interesting ways. So we believe that with the addition of technology and the development of the creators ecosystem, India can play a major role in the way the creators economy is shaping up. We welcome you all to this edition of IFFI. And we hope that your stay in Goa will be very interesting. We hope that you'll find new partnerships and develop new ideas here. We hope that some of the youngsters will get mentors. We hope also that many of the ideas that you share with us will help us shape the direction of the industry in the coming years. Thank you very much. Wish you all the very best.
Meanwhile, India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has launched its own OTT platform, Waves, offering a broad spectrum of entertainment and news content. The app is now available for download on Android and iOS devices. The platform aims to cater to a wide audience with its mix of live channels, movies, TV shows, games and live events.
भारत की संस्कृति का दर्पण प्रसार भारती.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lepakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.